taking the lead and being in control. He's holding my hand. I'm walking behind him because people gonna move when this big dude walk through. And so I know that. So I feel free to let him take that lead like that. Um, the other thing is I'm always asking him what he feels about certain things or what he thinks, or he's doing the same to me, so that as situations come up, we are aware of each other's feelings. So I think it has to do with how comfortable you are with the man that you're with. Um, the fact that your man is loving and kind, or even when he's, even if he has, I would say, what you would call a hard word or harsh word, usually it's not because he's mad, but because he wants something done a certain way. Um, you don't take offense to that because you know where his heart is. So I think it has a lot to do with that man and how you perceive him as the woman.
There it is.
Yeah. And
There it is.
how you perceive that protection. You know, if you think that he's being bossy or whatever, that's your perception. But when you talk to each other, then you find out.
When you one of the things you guys said in your show was the protection aspect. Um, how do you? And I'll start off because I want the woman's perspective. How do you accept protection, knowing that you can't protect what can't have some sort of control? How do you look at it as not you're trying to control me to dictate me, but you have to have a level of control as a husband and as a protector to be able to help guide me in certain situations?
Um, when I think about my husband as a protector, the thing that I think about is we have to constantly be talking about things with each other. It's important that I let him know about how I feel about certain things, so that as situations come up, we are aware of each other's feelings. So I think it has to do with how comfortable you are with the man that you're with. Um, the fact that your man is loving and kind, or even when he's, even if he has, I would say, what you would call a hard word or harsh word, usually it's not because he's mad, but because he wants something done a certain way. Um, you don't take offense to that because you know where his heart is. So I think it has a lot to do with that man and how you perceive him as the woman.
There it is.
Yeah. And
There it is.
how you perceive that protection. You know, if you think that he's being bossy or whatever, that's your perception. But when you talk to each other, then you find out, no, the reason I did that was because I saw, maybe he saw something you didn't see. So that's kind of usually how I look at it or how I see it.
And so, friend, how would you advise someone who, when you're not being bossy as a man, but maybe there's some preconceived notions of just being under the guidance and leadership of a guy, and you are trying to make sure that safety is involved, whether it's out in public or like you guys talked about clothing or whatever? How do you have a conversation with someone who is not used to having a man be able to say, hey, I am trying to protect you in this way?
Yes, our first one, we had two that were at Waterfall. I came in the house when we got married. It was her and her daughter. I'm coming in there. Them two are locked. They're locked. They're together. And all of a sudden, I come in there as a man, and I have certain things that I see and know as a man. as a protector that may seem strange or different to them. So I know this. I know that they have a bond. How do I present myself? So then it's my word choice. My word choice comes different. It's not, you don't listen to me. I'm a man. I know what I'm talking about. See, none of that works. It shuts down their ears. So what can I say? So with our daughter, first time with a young man came, he was going out on a date with her. I think it was one of her first dates. He was 16. He showed up over an hour late. I tell my daughter, you're not gonna go with him this evening. And she was about, get upset and cry. I said, because you're worth more than that. But things happen, she was on and on and on and all that. I said, do you see me late for you? Picking you up from school? Do you see me late for your mother? See, I've already mirrored what leadership looks like. So I'm asking her questions to make her see. Now, she wasn't happy. There wasn't no happy ending right there. Later on in life, because of that lesson right there, things she will not tolerate. She will not tolerate. The next one that we had was my daughter. So your kids, right? She rolled her eyes at me. The women was getting all upset. My daughter rolled her eyes, but was doing what I said. They wanted to, but I said, no, I got this. I said, she's doing what I said. I don't care. She rolls her eye, doing all of this. I'm past that. Do what I asked you to do. So I'm at that same time where my wife thinks she's protecting me. I'm saying, no, I got this. Let me show you what this look like. So we had little things that throughout, but I'm always talking to you about it being intentional. I know if I'm going to lead, first of all, I had to know who I went to the table, right? I had to know their character, and I have to say what works. It may take me 2 or 3 times to figure out what works, because what's your ultimate goal? To get to your goal. Mm-hmm. So you figure that's out. Did that help out any?
Yeah, and I like that. And I often say when people talk about protection, and I tell them, I said, you can't protect what you can't control. The president is the most powerful position in the world, and he can't go left if the Secret Service say we're going right. So the most powerful person has to give up control for protection. And so that's why I wanted to ask that question, because I think we misconstrue what protection, and understand that you do have to give up. As a child, as a spouse, as anybody, if you're asking for protection, you are now under their covering and their guidance. I also wanted to know, when you guys were talking about, being home at a certain time, right? When you say, I'll be home in a few, what does that mean? Well, a few is within an hour. A few might be few hours for others. Do you think it's important to, because I know for a man, when you get to questioning us, there's a little bit of a ego pops up. Do you think that it's important to say something similar to the fact of, hey, what time you be home? Because I wanted to make sure your dinner was ready when you got home. Is adding those little caveats to the conversation versus what time are you getting home? Or, hey, what time you get home, because I would like to show you this, or I just wanted to make sure dinner was ready. Do you think that's a technique that can help be able to have that conversation?
I think so, because it lets the person know that you need their input because of something that you're doing. Sometimes it may have to do with the kids. But I think all those little caveats like that make them also see that you're not trying to control their time or whatever. You're actually showing them some respect because you don't want to go ahead with your plans without them. I could sit down and eat dinner without you being there, but because I want you there with me, I'm saying I'm trying to keep your dinner warm so we can eat when you come home. We can eat together or whatever. I think those little caveats do help.
And it goes back to, like you said, protection and leadership. As a leader, I don't call my wife saying I'm doing so and so. You know what I mean? I call her, hey, so and so was thinking about going out there, asking me to come with you, to come with them. Do you have anything planned? That's respect. That's not control.
Yeah.
This is my wife. It can be your girlfriend. That's respect of my time. It's telling you I'm not. Hey, if you know the person that you have, they're not gonna say, "Nah, I want you to," because you know who they are. But I'm giving you the respect when I call and say, "Hey, they have this plan," because I don't know if she has dinner plan or if she has a surprise for me. So don't be looking. It's words and how you perceive words. If you perceive protection as negative, that means you probably haven't sat down with someone, your dad, your mom, and let them explain. Protection for my child means I love you, I'm concerned. That's what it means. I love you and I have concerns. But if you think of it as control,
I even look at it from a biblical perspective. As a believer in Christ, God has some requirements of you if you want his protection. But if you're not going to respect the guidelines that he's given in his word, then 9 times out of 10, you're going to get in trouble or you're going to be hurt by those things because you did not stay under his protection.
Mhm.
So,
Well, I often say that protection, the prefix of it is PRO, to work ahead of time.
mm,
Um, and I see this and I hear this conversation a lot. Do you think that, especially when it comes from women toward men, do you think women toward men really want men just to react what happened versus to protect from happening?
they've been out in the world so long, haven't been around men. They've been around young men, children, and child. When you ask for a man, know what your definition of a man, and I bet you put down protect me. I know you're gonna put down protect me, lead me, guide me. When you get a real man, that's what's gonna happen. But he's gonna be able to navigate it in a loving way and give him the grace to learn. Give him the grace that he may say in a harsh way. Now we ain't having that. And then you say back to them, what did you mean by we're not having that? I didn't understand that. So he can say, oh no, I'm worried about you.
Mhm.
See, once you told him, said that back to him, he said, oh yeah, that did kind of sound kind of rough there. So no, what I mean is to say it this way so you understand it. But that's hopefully people having these conversations before they get married, before they get invested in with a person. Because I'm a firm believer, if you're 35 and above, I'm asking questions. Well, what does leadership look like to you? What happens if we're together? We have a bank account together. We're married and we have a bank account together. And someone has to make a final decision about buying a car. Who gets the final word? Do you want me to lead or you want to lead? Or do you want to be a couple like me and you? You know that story I give people, um, couples together and they have is down to the end and both of them need a lemon.
oh,
They need a lemon to complete the task. And the wife goes, well, you can have the lemon. And the man says, no, 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 you can have it. Instead of just asking, what do you need? Well, I just need the peels, what they call it, the outside.
Mhm.
yeah.
And I just need the inside.
I just need the juice.
Everybody gets what they want
Yeah.
because you decided to communicate.
Got you. And speaking of communication, a lot of times I believe that men like to give a little bit of the information. And I think that sometimes women desire a lot of the information. Do you think it's true that men need to learn how to give a little bit more information and women need to be able to let go just a little bit without having to get every finite detail?
What happened today? When I told you about, I've talked to my friend.
Oh yeah, I said, well, is he married? Oh, how long you been here? It's like I
She
didn't
asked me
ask
like
him
a
all
million
of that.
questions, right? And I said, guys don't talk like that. I'm not interested in all that. And I don't ask the million questions. But the fact I know, hey, God built us different.
Mhm.
You're going to be inquisitive. So in certain situations, if there's a business, a task that we need to do, I'm more descriptive. She gives me the grace when it's something that's not task oriented like that. She will accept that. But I know as a guy, and I don't want no headaches. I know if it's some kind of task or we're going somewhere, I just got to bite the bullet, be a leader, and say, "Here's my plan." What do you say, Boo? I like a what?
I like a man with a plan.
I mean, we know
Tell,
that, brother.
tell me
So
what you have in mind.
yeah,
Because sometimes it'll stop you from asking 1,000 questions when um, you know what we're doing, how we're gonna do it, when we're gonna do it, and what is it I want you to do. When you answer certain questions, I mean, and I'm not saying those you got to specifically do that every
yes,
time,
she does.
but
Who, what, when, why? Who, what, when, why? You have to be that reporter.
but it does help. The more you know about a situation, the less questions you have in your mind, and you can kind of go with the flow. And what that does over time, if he's been doing that, then when he said we're gonna do this and this, then I can say in my head, oh, I'm sure he's already got the plan. We're gonna know what I'm gonna know where, when, and why. He just hadn't told me yet, and so yeah, I'm ready to go with that.
That's putting in that bank. That's putting in that time. So later on, you don't have to put in all that time. So invest for yourself. Invest for yourself.
Well, I know you guys also talked about when we were talking about asking, is this pleasing for you? What I wear, do you like it? What makes you want to wear, style yourself and everything else that's pleasing to your spouse? The reason I ask is because I've had ladies tell me, I wear my hair like I like. I don't care how my hair is for me. It ain't for my husband. Also, I knew a guy who his woman was complaining about how terrible his barber cut his hair, and he kept going. And I couldn't understand that because if my woman said he ain't cutting right, I got to find a new barber, and it confused. So I could understand why he didn't switch barbers, and I can't understand a lady that says, I don't care how you like my hair, I will wear it this way. And I understand we are our own individuals, but don't you want to please the person that you with?
It's interesting you say that because when we got married, and I'll talk about myself first and then him. When we got married, he never said this to me. It was years later after we got married, but he told me, "You dress like an old lady," and um, people told me that. So you know what the solution to that was? He would go shopping with me, and he would tell me what he liked to see. And then once I started wearing those different clothes, other people started commenting on how nice I looked. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess I did. And then I heard other people say, you know, I thought maybe you had just lost weight and because your clothes was too big, they was baggy. Well, I grew up religious. And so
Holiness.
I did not want my stuff to be too tight. I didn't want it too low. I didn't want it too fitting. And so naturally, when he came and started shopping with me, well, I dressed like what was pleasing to him. And I liked it actually. Um, then with him, he either looked bummy or He would look fine because he'd wear a suit, okay? And I'd be like, man, you look good. And I can remember the first time that he saw the picture of himself with the brother-in-laws when they
Mm-hmm.
were going to play golf. They all had on their little collared shirts and the matching shorts and all that. And then he said to me, I see what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
So then I started buying him golf attire. But so we don't, sometimes people helping you with how you're dressing, um, for one, they're just trying to help you. And I wanted to please him. He's the man in my life. So it's like, I want him to be proud of what I
Mm-hmm.
look like when I'm with him. And I want to look good. I want him to think that I look good and I want to know that I
Mm-hmm.
look good. But he might have his
No, she
own.
said it right because I feel as a person that is something you don't like, that you may like, but I'm gonna be like, let me replace it. I'm not gonna tell you that I don't like that. You don't do this wrong. That's just gonna be rebellious. But if I say and I give you that aggravate, I can't even say the word right now. But if I say, baby, you look good in this. Oh, I like that. Oh, girl, you sexy right here. That's encouragement. That's positive. Instead of me saying what I don't like, let me show you what I do like. And if you choose it, fine. Same thing with here. So I don't think once again, I'm going to go back. It's how you approach things. I'm not going to tell my woman that this is all jacked up and I don't have no solution. You have a solution. Like, man, she look jacked up when she do this so and so. I can't stand it. I'm gonna go a little deep. I know, like we're grown up talk now. Making love to somebody, right? I'm not gonna. Men and women, we all sensitive. I'm not gonna tell you what you're doing wrong. I'm gonna tell you what you're doing right. Pump you up so that you stop doing what I don't like. Right? Replace it. Replace it. And I hope that answers your question.
Well, one thing I will say, as you say that in that point, when you pump up somebody about what you like, communication is not only about the person being great at expressing it, you have to hear it.
Yeah.
And if I hear you keep complimenting this and you don't say anything about that, there might be a sign. And, so
that's what you hope.
That's what you hope.
You hope they get it.
And my husband has said to me too that sometimes the way we dress says to the opposite sex what you can get away with, what you can get away with doing. If I'm scantily dressed, then you're giving people ideas about you that you may not want to be communicated. If you're overly drab, you also communicating something about yourself.
Mhm.
So how you dress, whether it's professional, whether it's neat, clean, whatever, that says something about who you are as well. I
it it
feel.
it actually
I
does.
feel.
I had a lady tell me, and people might frown, and she said, but if she would see a guy who was dressed nice and his woman wasn't, and she was able to see them on multiple occasions, she said he would be somebody that she could approach because she can look and say the way he keep himself up, she knows he's not pleased with how she dressed. So she said that allows another woman to come in and present herself in a way to match him, because chances are he really wants somebody to match that. He doesn't want that. So that makes sense of what you said.
And think about it like this. All the young ladies that are out there saying, hey, you should be able to dress like you want, act like you want. Think about what you're attracting. Then you'll say, why this dude with the gold tooth come up to me? Why did It's because he thinks, and we all know men, I'm not thinking that you're nice, you're intelligent. First thing I see that represents you is clothes. If I see everything, I think you're open to possibilities.
Yes.
You can say that's wrong and it shouldn't be like it is like that. So if you're going out with your girls just to have fun and dress any way you want and hanging out, ain't nothing wrong with that. But don't be mad when you get a caliber of person that comes up to you that ain't up to your standards.
You got to remember, everybody prejudges.
Thank you.
Everybody.
All of
and
us.
So for the people that are mad at getting prejudged, understand you prejudge too. Mm-hmm. So understand that is something that we all do. So you're right about that. But those are my only questions I had. If you wanted to close it out.
I wanted to say something else on if your partner is well dressed and you aren't. If your partner cares about you, to me, the another way to look at it is he's not going to be dressed decked down and me not at some point be dressed down because he don't want to look good and I don't. We both want to look good. So he's going to care enough to say, babe, I want to get you something nice too. Not knocking your point. I'm just saying also somebody who really cares about you is going to care about what you look like on their arm because people also judge. He must not be taking care of her. Look at him. He looking. It's like
it's a reflection,
like they do with mamas whose kids are nappy headed kids, and she dressed to the nines, and that kid's hair is all over their head, and they wearing old tied shoes. They like she don't care nothing about her kids.
Yeah.
We represent each other.
We do.
We represent.
You in a relationship, you represent each other. You don't want your girlfriends talking about they're gonna talk about you behind your back real bad. And if some of them gonna talk about in front of you, I don't want. I had this thing too about complimenting my wife. I can always tell when a married woman is not being complimented at home. I will say, just being me, hey, you look nice today. Because it's something that they ain't used to hearing. It's like, they're like, giggly and all happy. There is not anything, and this, I mean, about being intentionally, there's some compliment someone's going to say to my wife, she ain't already heard from me that day, and vice versa. It's intentional. It's intentional. Because you tell me what?
Thank you. Handsome.
Yeah, all that good stuff made me feel good. And vice versa. Hey, we appreciate each and every one of y'all coming back for this after Q&A. We appreciate our producer, the Radio Therapy Network, Terrence. God bless again each and every one of y'all.
All right.
Signing off.
Let's communicate
and talk later.
Okay.